Excuse me.
Good God. Every time I've started the video, you've been burping now. I'm gonna charge this battery just to be safe.
Charge all the batteries, Lacey. All the batteries need charging. Tall drink. Straight tearing them up, old son.
Yeah, somebody drove by and drummed and tossed.
Which is crazy because you live so far off the road.
Had a wedgie.
Love that for you. Drama's really fucking it up. Does drama get a little crazier when Todd's here?
Yes.
Gotta compete.
Alright, you ready for the fifth and probably not the final time we're gonna try to start this podcast?
We need, yeah. Because we were still looking at the camera.
I know. It's hard when you're this beautiful.
Make sure your beats are set right. You're playing still.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hit stop. No, hit stop. Hit stop and then drag it all the way to the beginning. Is your beat set alright? Press the plus sign.
Okay.
Does it say
16
automatic?
bars, automatic.
Yeah.
And then, hold on.
Nope, that's all you needed.
Okay, I just want to check.
Okay, now go back. Ready? 3, 2, 1,
go. Alright, how many times have we started this? You don't need to know.
This is the 4th time.
Welcome back to the Independent and Unstable podcast starring Julie and Lacey.
Hi.
This podcast might get a little hairy because Julie just drank a bang and I popped a pamperin', so
It's gonna get weird.
we are hoping for the best, but we don't know what's gonna happen.
It's
Julie,
gonna get really weird.
how was your holiday weekend?
I ate lots of food. I'm still eating lots of food currently.
Same, yeah.
All the leftovers are in my kitchen and in my belly.
I have had a serious relationship with corn souffle the past 4 days.
Dude, corn pudding, that's what poor people call it. They don't call it souffle. Okay, we call it corn pudding.
Oh,
or corn casserole.
Got it.
We're not fancy like that.
Listen.
But it fucking slaps.
Oh my God. Listen, I need to tell y'all about what happened my freaking Friday because one of the parts involves the corn souffle and my mother was ashamed. So Friday night, I went to the bar with my parents and my brother because that's family bonding for us, okay? My brother is living with us again, so the podcast room / spare room is a little disarray right now.
Bradley, if you're listening or watching this, get your shit together, sir. I had to step over dirty stuff that I'm not touching because I don't know what you've been doing in your socks. Disgusting.
Yeah, my job was to charge things and then light a candle so it didn't smell like boy.
I didn't want it to smell like boy.
It does, and we had to make your bed,
Bradley,
you're 31, get your shit together.
make your damn bread, Brad.
Anyway, so we went to the bar with one of my friends, Kelsey, because she lives in Nashville. And it's kind of tradition now that she goes to this one. It's a biker bar. It's hole in the wall, absolute trash. But it's so flippin' fun because we just drink with my parents. They have pretty good food, pretty good bar food. And so we go there. We're drinking. We're having a good time. We may or may not have hit a pin from my brother. And so we are feeling great, okay? I am feeling fantastic. I am having some Crown and Sprites. We are just vibing, okay? We play some pool. Apparently I'm a pool shark. I don't know if you knew this. I'd be good at pool now, apparently. And everything's good. And I decide once I get to an apex of drunk that my mother needs to see some artifacts that I have saved in my phone under an album called Please Mom Don't Look. Because an experience happened to Lacey a long time ago that we need to discuss. But I showed my mother the big dick boy dick pics.
Nice, Lacey. That was a good choice. That was a good choice. That was a good choice. I don't understand how to work this damn microphone. The other day, I know this is off topic, but the other day I was trying to figure out, because, I was in charge of figuring all the sound stuff out, and I failed miserably. That's why we recorded off of one microphone for the last 3 weeks. I was trying to figure out how to record off 2 microphones, and I had to ask Lacey so many times that my husband now knows when the mic is muted and not muted, and I still don't fucking know.
But it's okay. But yes, so a while ago, I ended up coming into contact with a couple different men that had massive penises.
The biggest dick boys.
The biggest of dick boys. Like, when I tell you, like, it's not like they were 9.5 inches and 10.5 inch long penises, and the girth was my wrist. And I have thick girl wrists, okay? This is just for the audio.
They had toddler arms, not even baby arms. They were toddler arms.
Oh my God. So I thought I showed my father a saved dick pic. Like, that's how close and dysfunctional my family is. I was just casually showing my family dick pics that I have received because we got into a hot topic about dick pics. Me and Kelsey were talking about how we don't like receiving them, and Brad's like, well, my success rate is pretty freaking high for dick pics.
Brad, shut up.
And, so basically, let me briefly explain to you, and we'll refresh with you. Let me take you back to August.
I wish we could show the dick pics.
2017, I think.
I wish we could show them.
Because August, I think it was 2017 because I was still in college, I believe.
It's been a while ago.
It was a while ago. So basically, I was in my room with my friend Kelsey, ironically, and this guy matched with me on Tinder. And he was very cute. Okay, we'll give him the name John, just because he's probably okay with it because he loves showing his dick, but like, I haven't asked, so you know. And, we message, and good sense of humor off the bat, cute. So he's like, I have a question for you that's a little more awkward. And I was like, all right, shoot. And he's like, are you a size queen? And I didn't know what that was. We had to Urban Dictionary, because at first me and Kelsey were afraid it was like men who had a kink for like feeding women because I'm a little thick, and I was about to like kill myself.
Fuck that, make that big, sis.
I mean, true. So we Urban Dictionary it as one does, and it's basically women who have who prefer larger penises. And at this point, I was a stone cold virgin, so I was petrified of any penis, let alone one that is large. But I'm honestly here for the memes, okay? So,
dude, I cannot. The size of the dicks on those boys is. It should be illegal. No woman's taking that.
So he's like, you know, I bring this up. He's like, not to be a douchebag. He's like, it's genuinely been a problem in the past. And so he's like, you know, would you like to see? And honestly, at this point, for science, and Kelsey's egging me on, I'm like, my friend's with me. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, I don't care. And I was like, okay. So he adds me on Snap, and he sends me these pictures. And when I tell you that I was literally a changed woman after this. Like, Kelsey, who was not a virgin, because, like, I was a virgin, but I had seen penises, like, obviously. Like, I wasn't, you know, I was still in my early 20s.
Well, you can't go your life without seeing a penis. It's physically impossible.
Yeah,
because men will send them to you, whether or not you've had
been getting
unsolicited
dicky picky since I was 14.
Ridiculous.
And so
get it together, men.
And so he sends, like, a catalog. Like, it wasn't just like one like real quick. No, like, this man,
he gave you a full 360.
Yeah, because like it wasn't just like, here is my dick. It was, here's my dick compared to a Pringles can. Here's my dick compared to a Gillette Fusion shaving cream can. Here's my dick compared to a toilet bowl roll. And then also, toilet bowl roll, that ain't a word.
I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, anyway, toilet roll thing. And then
toilet paper roll is what she was getting.
And then let me put a measuring tape around it so you know the circumference.
He did. It was like something on a grandma's sewing kit.
I know, and I was like, and my first response, without a bat, like, I was like, bro, you're gonna have to date a horse. Like, that's not going in any holes. And he's like, well, this is like why I bring it up, because like it has been a genuine problem.
The only man to find a respectable reason to bring up the size of his penis.
And like consent, like, was like, can I show you my penis? And I'm like, honestly,
he just wanted you to know what you were getting into.
Respectable. And it really sucks that he is just packing, because that man was so cool and so funny. And like, I think because he didn't have to compensate for anything. Like, he knew he had a massive penis.
He had a schlong.
And you might be like, okay, Lacey, well, like, why do you think you're special? I'll tell you why. Because then, like, 6 months later, I match with another gentleman. We'll call this guy Gary. Gary, same kind of situation. Tall, cute. This one was Australian, so he had an accent.
I remember Gary.
Yes. And almost the exact conversation happens again. We're like, we've talked on the Tinder app for a little bit, and then he's like, hey, I gotta bring something up. I kind of have an extra large, like a very large dick, and it's been a problem. And I was like, are you shitting my dick right now? And he's like, what? I'm like, I literally have had this exact conversation with a man 6 months prior in the same 45-mile radius. And he's like, no freaking way. So then he adds me on Snap. And I was with Julie when this guy sent photos and videos.
You were?
Yep, remember? Because
the guy in the blue jeans.
Yes.
In the mirror.
Yes.
I can't forget about him.
No.
You forgot sweet potato dick in the middle of that.
That is true. Well, he didn't
have size, but he had an awkward girth.
It was large still, nonetheless. But he was a dick also. So that's why...
It looked like a sweet potato. So sweet potato dick guy, if you're out there, you need to look into some reconstructive surgery.
Well, like, he was just an asshole because, like, he sent the dick pic through text, like a sociopath.
He sends hard copies of their dick.
Exactly. And then...
A guy who thinks he's hot shit. That's
yeah,
what.
And when he sent it, like, I was like, hey, bud, that's not going in me because it's large. And then he was an asshole. Like, the other guys were, like, totally understandable, but he was a jerk. So that's why he didn't get a cameo. So, anyway. Sweet potato, fuck you. But back to Gary. So, Gary, Indiana was like, let me send you... And again, men with big dicks, they will send you a whole, portfolio. So, like, I get pictures, but then I also get videos. And me and Julie... are watching the video.
I'm married, by the way, to a husband with a normal sized penis.
But someone else had to see it because, like, I opened the first picture and I was like,
no, if I ever received penises of that size in my inbox, I would have to, like, call at least 10 people. Like, you need to see these.
I tell everyone this story because it's absolutely asinine. And so the funniest part of this, though, is that then after talking to Gary, I still have John in my Snapchat. And, like, we had snapped occasionally. So I message him and I'm like, bro, you're not going to believe this. I found another dick that might top yours. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I have a massive schlong. Even porn, I haven't seen dicks a lot bigger than mine. So,
which is a respectable flex.
Yeah. And so,
in and of itself.
With Gary, he was like, I didn't know that I was talking to a big dick connoisseur. I just want to still point out, I'm a virgin at this point. I want y'all to understand that I was a virgin dealing with massive penises like I was a dick professional. Because this man asked me to guess his measurements, and I fucking guessed them correctly. Because of seeing John's penis. Like, I was like, I think you've got more length than him, so I'm going to say 10.5. And then you look a little skinnier, though, so I'm going to say, like, 5.5, 6 inches.
She figured the circumference of their penises to compare them.
We're going to get there. So anyway, I tell Gary about John, and then I tell John about Gary, and they are both in my inbox like, hold on, like, as a respect, like, these I hope they're best friends now. And they're like, I've never met someone with a bigger dick, and, like, vice versa for both of them. So to find out who had the most dick, we did the fucking area and volume of penis. We were doing mathematical equations to find out who had more penis. Fun fact, it's John. Because even though his was shorter, the girth is what got him.
The girth is where you get extra points.
But, like, it was insane. And then it was so funny because John then talked to me and he's like, do you understand that me and this Gary guy's dicks are, like, very, very rare? Like, it's like less than 3%, like might even be less than 2%. He's like, and you have managed to find, I found 4 total, might I add. There was another guy, he sent a couple snaps, I got sick, I got scared. He didn't have the personality to back, so I was like, I have to leave. Like, my vagina puckered. But like, how do I have a radar for just giant penises? And it was even funnier when I was still a virgin because it's like, because, like, when you're 16 and you're getting ready to have sex for the first time, you don't think about the logistics. You're just a 16-year-old who wants to have sex, you know? Mm-hmm. But when I was older as a virgin, I was, like, terrified because I'm like, this shit actually does hurt. And, like, I'm not prepared for that. I want somebody with a very average to below average penis, please, and thank you.
Micro penises, if you're out there, there's still a chance.
No, we're already good now. We're good.
No, I meant for people who are experiencing the same scares.
Any guy who's out there listening to this now frightened, just know that I am like, most females are still completely okay with like 5 to 6 still, the average. Totally okay. Like, that is fine. Don't listen to the people who are like, big dicks, I want to... No.
If your penis is the size of the dildos they sell in the back of the sex store, sorry, no one's going to have sex with you.
Yeah, like, I don't know how Gary and John, like, I don't know how they do it. I honestly, like, I don't know how they live their life. John had to sit, I was like, dude, I have to see this thing soft. He's 7.5 inches soft.
Yep. That's bigger than the average size penis.
He's like, I'm bigger soft than most men hard. I'm like, fine.
Being a grower at that point is just insane to me because you already have so much going on.
Yeah, but could you imagine if it was like 4 soft? So you're like, okay, manageable, and then he gets hard and it turns into 9.5, and you're like,
I think that's physically impossible, but that would be terrifying.
Oh my god. But yeah, like, it's
literally to have a wrinkly ass dick.
Still one of the craziest stories that I have to date because, like, I just can't fathom it. And honestly, like, I asked permission and I was like, can I keep your dick pics. Because, like, it's such an insane story. I feel like I have to have them to back it, because I feel like if I told people, they wouldn't believe me.
I just can't wait for the day when you run out of storage on your phone and you have to make the hard decision to have to delete the Mom Please Don't Look album with all the big dick boys in it. I also love that we've just made a club for them, and they don't even know. Like, they'll never know.
Literally, we have a little podcast points thing, and it's literally just, like, to make sure we talk about what we want to talk about, and one of them is literally just drunk with mom, big dick boys.
Big dick boy.
Because I knew exactly what I needed from that. Because it's literally still one of the most insane stories. And, like, it's honestly hilarious, too, because, like, I had these two guys messaging me, like, respectfully trying to figure out who had the bigger dick.
Right. A gentleman's conversation.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, too, is, like, guys with bigger dicks, I don't know if it's a thing, like, but I guess since they don't have to compensate for
Majority
anything.
rules, you're just nicer people.
Yeah.
I feel like you're either going to be super nice about it,
Or,
like John and Gary, or you're going to be super cocky about it,
like sweet potato. Yeah. The other guy was neither. He just, like, didn't have a personality.
Lacey sent me the picture of Sweet Potato Guy's dick through Snapchat.
Yeah, because he sent me a hard copy. You psychopath.
She sent it to me, and I was like, why the fuck are you sending me pictures of sweet potatoes? Like, I didn't even realize it was a penis. It looked like a sweet potato.
It was insane. And mind you, it was so funny because while the Gary guy was sending... Because he was, like, giving us all the angles. He sent videos, too. Like, it was a lot. And I remember, like, a couple different times, Julie was just looking at me like, I'm married. And I was like, yeah, but you're the only person here, so you have to deal with this. I'm sorry for your husband. But, like, your husband's super cool.
Listen, my husband was also equally as impressed when we told him the size and girth of Pringles can.
I showed my brother Pringles can, and my brother was like, Jesus Christ.
Dude.
Because when I'm telling you...
A blessing and a curse, I'm telling you.
Because, like, I call him Pringles can for the most part, because one of the pictures of the, size comparison was he put a Pringles can behind, and you can hardly see the Pringles can.
All I can think about is how that thing was going around. It was on Twitter. But guys were taking the short Pringles cans and putting, like... So you take a Pringles can, the short Pringles can. You get a rubber glove and 2 dish sponges. You put the dish sponges inside the Pringles can, then put the glove between the sponges and the Pringles can, wrap it over the top, and you have a makeshift pocket pussy.
Mm.
And all I can think about is the fact that he would have to have 6 sponges and a long-ass dish glove to be able to make a pocket pussy out of a full-size Pringles can.
It's insane. Like, honestly, he needs to be, like... in the Nat Geo.
They're gonna make a statue of him one day.
In his honor. Like, you know how a lot of the, like, Greek ones have, like, those
little tiny
pictures? His would be, like, hitting children in the face. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Quick segue to our one podcast where we talked to my brother about, there comes that time where a man, like a boy, takes a shower with his dad. Could you imagine that in your face? 7.5 inches. If he spins around
What
too
if
fast,
he gets it from his dad?
Oh my god. Just a 6-year-old with a massive schlong.
Can we touch base with him again?
I'll talk to him in like 5 years and be like, hey, do you have kids yet?
I just want to know, like, when did you know your dick was that
Listen,
large?
I could message him right now and he would answer because, like, he's so cool about it. Like, I literally...
Can we set up a Zoom call with this man? I'm being serious. No, I'm being so serious.
A documentary?
No. Can we set up a Zoom call with this man for next week?
He probably would.
Okay,
it's just sometimes he literally does not get back to me in like 6 weeks.
Well, then we need to message him and we can follow back on this because I have questions, okay? I want to know when he realized that his dick was enormous.
Yeah, like, was he in the locker room and everyone was just like,
right.
Oh my god.
Or was it like, when did you notice that your dick was bigger than your dad's? Because I'm assuming that unless it's like, you all have elephant trunks.
Yeah.
Wild.
But, like, could you imagine, though, taking a shower with your dad who has a 7.5-inch soft penis and he whips around and just poo, and then you're knocked out in the shower.
Got a black eye and you have to go to school and explain that your dad didn't hit you with his fists.
He hit you with his dick!
He hit you with his ding dong. Can we also point out that every single podcast episode, including our introduction podcast, we've talked about penises?
Listen, it's a hot topic.
Penises are gross.
They are.
They're disgusting.
There's some that you get pictures of and they're like nice because at least they're like well kept, they're clean, and they don't have anything. But I have gotten, I'm sorry men, but I have gotten a dick pic or two before where I'm like, that thing looks like it goes on an alien.
It looks like they're finding a cure for it.
Yeah.
Like it's a disease and they're finding a cure for it.
Like, I have gotten some that are like bumpy. And I'm like, not in a bumpy way of like disease bumpy, like just in a
Lumpy.
like, that's the way
They're
it is.
lumpy.
And I was like, ooh.
The discoloration.
Ooh, that's,
really.
yeah.
Because it's been a while since I received like it's not been a while since I received an unsolicited dick pic. It's been a while since I received an unsolicited dick pic that I haven't been having sex with for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Because I am married. And yeah, after you get married, they'll still send you dick pics.
Hey, I feel like at that point,
but even he doesn't send hard copies. He sends it through Snapchat like a normal person.
I know, like, and hard copy, and he had an Android.
Bold.
Green
Bold.
comments.
It might have actually been a sweet potato.
It was pixelated. Looked like it was taken on a Nokia.
On a fucking brick phone.
Yeah. But literally, like, it's insane to me. Because, like, that's my thing. Is, like, I've always had a stance on, like, when it comes to, like, sexting and stuff. Like, as an adult who's 25 now, when men want to sext and we're both in our mid to late 20s, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, when I think of, like, sending nudes, I think of doing it as, like, we are already in a relationship and I want to do it to fuck with you. Yeah. Like, I know you're at work or something, so I'm going to send you my tits.
Straight up, when the shutdown happened and I was off work for 2 months and Caleb got to go to... I just doxed my husband. Oh, well, people know.
Yeah.
Caleb got to go to work and I cried every day because Caleb got to go to work and, like, see people. And the only person I got to see was Lacey. Because... Anyway, but like he would be at work and I'd be like, okay, well I'm bored, so let me take some hot ass pictures of myself because I was doing my makeup every fucking day to keep myself occupied. And I liked hot, okay?
She did.
I liked fucking hot. And I would send them to him and he would call me on his lunch break and be like, will you fucking quit?
I'm hard as fuck at work. I'm rock hard right now.
I'm trying to say hard out here, but not like that.
I'm rock hard at work. Can you please quit?
I'm sure somewhere someone's gonna get offended by us wanting to use nudes to fuck with people.
I mean, I would never, like, if my husband or, like, boyfriend was like, hey, I don't like it, then I wouldn't. Like, I would want to make sure that it was consensual because
I
men...
think it's a control thing.
Yeah, because men can receive unsolicited nudes as well. Like,
I've never heard a man complain about it, though.
I have, and it was our one friend. About the one girl who's upset.
Yeah, because that... He only did that because he doesn't think that she's attractive.
Well, but still...
If it would have been a person he thought was attractive, sending him unsolicited tit pics, no problem. No chance.
But like I said, there is still... They can still receive an unsolicited or unwarranted.
They can still be unsolicited.
Yes. But what I'm getting at is, like, I would want to be in a place with my partner where, like, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna send you my titties. And then send them. And then be like, oh my god, I'm at work. Or, like, I'm with my mom. And I'd be like, eh.
I don't know if it's just because I've been with this, like... Kayla and I have been together for 8 years. 8 years?
Something like that.
7. It'll be 8 next October.
Yeah.
Whoops. But... I don't know. It's just, it goes from being like, oh my god, that's so hot, to being like, there for a while it was like, this is weird, even though we're married.
Yeah.
You see my tits all the time.
Because you sleep naked.
Right. And now, like, if I say something even remotely that can be taken as sexual, it's over the top. Oh yeah, those are... I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
You're feral. You are 25 and feral.
Why are you so feral?
For real, like you can have it whenever you want it, and you still act like you never get it.
Well, I think there's that thing that shows that like men's sexual peak of when they're like the most horny
is like 25 to 30.
Yeah, and then women's
is 30 to 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I told him the other day. I said literally, I read the article about the sexual peaks, and it's not even like sexual peaks. It's just when you like have the most sexual urges, which is crazy to think that it's not when you're like 16 to like 20.
Yeah.
But especially for boys. Anyway. And he just says some of the most offhand shit about having sex. Like, it's like I'm going to go to war. Or he's going to go to war and we're never going to see each other again.
Yeah.
And I'll be like the other day I was like, I didn't think this happened until men were like 30. And then I read the article and it said it was like 25 to 30. And I was like,
I got 5 more years of this.
Well, mine doesn't start for another 5, so...
You know, that's a real shitty thing for the, universe to do.
How do we get to mature first? We have to mature first.
Yeah.
Everything's our cortex matures first.
Everything's our fault.
We have to have a period.
Yep.
And then we don't get to hit our sexual peak until we're 30 to 40s, and we're cougars.
Yeah.
Who was it that didn't know what a MILF was the other day?
Shoot.
It was Caleb's aunt.
Oh, yeah, Caleb's aunt.
Caleb's aunt's in town from Utah. We love her.
She's fantastic.
Love her so much. We were going through the comment below game, which is like the Cards Against Humanity game, but like the Facebook pictures.
Yeah.
And Caleb pulled one out to like show her, and it said something about these hot ass MILFs, and she goes, "What's a MILF?" And I looked at her, and I was like, I thought she was kidding because Grandma was sitting on the couch.
Yeah, so you know.
So you're like, what is that? It's like, I don't know what that is. She was not. She did not know what a MILF was, and I told her, I was like, it's Mom's I'd like to fuck, and she's like, am I a MILF? I don't know, Tammy, are you? Like, I don't know.
I'm married.
To your nephew.
Did you see the comment that I put in our group chat with our one friend? Because I thought it was so funny because he was like, I just want you to be around.
Okay, so Bustin'.
Yeah.
I'll dox him. It's nothing bad.
No.
But I do this thing, and I only do it because I know it makes him uncomfortable.
It's
him
so
in particular
funny.
uncomfortable.
Yes, it's so
because
funny.
if I did it to any of Caleb's other friends, they would just look at me like I was stupid.
No. So we have a group chat with our friend Bustin, and Julie had sent a Snapchat, and he was getting, anytime he gets, like, sentimental, because we've been friends for a long time, especially Julie and Bustin, and, so he said something like, I just want Julie to be around for a while, you feel? And I just literally, without question, because I knew he would get awkward, I just sent, Bustin'? Julie is married.
Well, because every time Bustin says something like that, like, he'll be like, I love you, man, and I just want you to know that, like, I'm not a sentimental person, so when someone tries to be sentimental with me, I'm just like, I'm gonna fuck with them. So he'll say stuff, and I'll be like, Bustin, I'm married.
And then he's like,
he just looks at me like, you know what I meant, and you know that. And like, so I know, but it's funny because every time I say it, you have the same reaction. It's either he gets really defensive about it, or he goes, okay.
Yeah.
And his Bustinisms.
Yeah. All right. I think here is a good place to take a break because I want to make sure that I'm not heavy breathing like Darth Vader because I need to blow my nose. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back, and we will talk about some other topics. So...
All right.
So, we have officially taken a nice little break. I had to pee and blow my nostrils because fucking Ohio allergies. Anyway.
It's just Ohio in general. You're allergic to Ohio. It's not the allergies. It's just the state.
Ohio. It's just the way...
My parents live in Ohio.
I live in the moment.
I live in the moment.
It do be like that in Ohio. So, we are going to... take a quite dramatic segue.
Dude, we did not plan this out the right way when we said we wanted to talk about stuff because we're trying to add a little bit more structure into the podcast just because we have a tendency to ramble if we do not
have some kind of structure.
Plan.
And that's like what I was talking about with a lot of the first episodes being trial and error, and I think that's how anybody's podcast is.
Also, we haven't talked about it. We have 2 microphones now.
What's poppin'?
We have 2 mics.
Julie literally...
I made a $1,700 investment just so we could have 2 microphones.
I mean, to be fair, I think everyone needs a MacBook because they are so nice. But
I needed one because this podcast will take the fuck off.
Yeah.
I am putting that as one of the few things I've ever been optimistic about in my life is that this podcast will take off. I just also want you to know that my husband is rooting for us 150% because he would like the clout from our podcast to start his streaming.
Yeah, but
the only reason.
Your husband is also very supportive too, though.
He very much is. Like
he's
he
great.
Literally,
shout out to you, Kim.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah,
he's one of the good ones.
Oh yeah, but something that so if you follow either of us on social media, we did a live, and we might do another one sometime soon on
we need to do another one because that was fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. But we went live, and something that Julie has talked about.
I took over Lacey's live.
She did because for some reason that day her baby only wanted me.
She only attaches to one person per day. That's all she can handle mentally, which I respect.
Yeah.
But that day it was Lacey, so we started a live while she was taking a nap, and then she woke up, and like I tried to comfort her, as her mother figure. No part of it. Just wanted Lacey.
Yeah, so I was in the little playpen with her.
Lacey gives off cool aunt energy.
Yeah, I was in the playpen with her, and then Julie was on my live, which was totally fine. Like, everyone loved Julie. And, so she was talking about something that she has struggled with a lot because both of us have kind of have similar issues with our reproductive systems.
Yeah,
basically,
another reason it sucks to be me.
Yeah, both our bodies are kind of like be a regular female that like regulates regularly.
Yeah, never had a normal
we could
period
never
in my life.
Me, not unless I was on birth control.
But
so something that Julie struggled with has been TTC. And so I was going to let her kind of take the reins here and talk about that because a lot of people wanted us to talk about it on our podcast so that Julie could just kind of really get into it.
Because I've made TikToks about it, but obviously my TikTok following is a lot smaller than Lacey's. So when I was on her live, people were asking, obviously people want to see the baby, and then you're like, well, you can't because she's a foster baby, and this, that, and the other. And then the question that always comes after you tell somebody that you have a foster child is, oh, well, do you have kids of your own? Like, so offensive that I don't have kids of my own and went straight into fostering a child. And then it leads into the conversation. So I was telling Lacey's Live about it, and a couple people asked me if I would just go in depth on it, and TikTok Live didn't seem like the place for that.
Well, it's something that needs to be documented too, because it is something that a lot of women struggle with, and there's just not a lot of talk about it, unfortunately.
No, honestly, like, even the acronym TTC, did not know what that was until TikTok. But for those who don't know, TTC just stands for trying to conceive. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I would be TTC baby number 1. So I guess I'll just get into the meat and potatoes of it all. I've never in my life, without the help of birth control, had a normal period. Yeah. Like, ever. It was either super heavy. This is going to get TMI, so... Trigger warning. Trigger warning. We're going to talk about blood.
We're going to talk about the lady period. I'm about to start mine.
But anyway, I've never had a normal period in my life unregulated by birth control. So when I was, like, I used to miss school, and my sister struggles with this too. Like, my sister was on a special medication to, like, help her cramps because her cramps were so bad.
Oh, yeah. Mine, I had one period that was similar to child labor, my doctor told me.
Yeah.
Because literally, I almost shot myself.
Yeah, so if you're a man and you won't go out at 12 a.m. to get your cramping girlfriend, wife, partner chocolate, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, because literally one time I was at work and I like broke a sweat and I literally had to run to the bathroom because I almost shit myself. Because if I'm not on birth control, my periods are so bad that like I would have to miss school. Like, I didn't start regularly until I was I only had 3 periods total while I was in high school because my body just didn't understand. But yeah, it's real out here for a lot of us ladies, so put some respect on our name.
But there was a couple times where, like, I missed 3 or 4 days of school, and it was a big deal for me to miss school because I was a teacher's kid. And, you know, if someone like Lacey would have missed school, people would have been like, oh yeah, she's not here today, and that would have been the end of it. They would have asked her when she got back why she wasn't here. And I missed school, and then I got people, well, your mom said this, because my mom can't keep her mouth shut. I love my mom, but she can't keep her mouth shut. I remember when I got my first period, everybody knew. Everybody knew. And I specifically asked her, Jo Heather, if you're listening, I specifically asked you not to say anything to anybody. And what did you do? You called my grandmother and my 3rd grade teacher, because I got to class that day, and she's like, how are you feeling today? And I'm like, I'm going to kill my mom. And so... Anyway,
Jo Heather, if you're listening, I love you and thank you for supporting us.
I love my mom very much. She's very supportive. We stand Jo Heather. We love her. Anyway, so I've never had a normal period. I would miss weeks of school because cramping would be so bad. The bleeding would be, like, terrible. And we'll get back to that in a second because it's gotten a lot worse in my adult life. Anyway, so I got on birth control. I was 16 when I got on birth control. 16 or 17 when I got on birth control. And the only reason that I'm pretty sure my mom let me get on birth control, she said it was because of my periods, but I'd also gotten really serious with my now husband. And I think she was scared of a, you know, teen pregnancy type of situation. So I get on birth control, and I finally, for the first time in my effing life, have a semi-regulated period. Because before I got on birth control, I had like a 6 or 7 month period at one point. Like, straight. I bled every single day. 7-month period. And then I didn't have a period for almost a year. Like, at all. And I can only assume that was my body being like, we've bled all we can bleed. I can't give you anything else.
Captain, there's no more to give.
So, I got on birth control, and I had a regular, 28-day cycle. I would bleed for a week. I ovulate. I am one of the women that experience really severe ovulation pain.
Same.
And that shit sucks because you're dealing with, like, you ovulate, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get through that, because that can be like a 2 to 3 day process of just, you feel like your uterus is exploding.
Mine is a lot. I have back cramps really bad, and then I have the back ovulation, and it sucks.
But then, a week later, you got to deal with your period, and your like whole uterus, like your vagina's falling out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the birth control helped me out a lot. But I didn't know about birth control. Like, I knew what birth control was, but I did not know how much it fucks up your body in other ways. So my husband and I got married. We were 18 when we got married. Okay, I was in college, he was like, we were both working full time, and we were like, no kids for us yet. Okay, like I mentally cannot handle that. We're not doing that. So I stayed on birth control. My sister-in-law, this is what made me want to get off birth control really bad, because I watched what she went through with her birth control. She had blood clots. Her legs were full of blood clots. Ugh. And they traced it back to her birth control. Because birth control, I didn't know that. That was something my doctor never told me when they put me on birth control, was that it can cause blood clots and heart issues and this, that, and the other. And she had blood clots from her birth control. And I was like, fuck that. Never taking that again. And I stopped taking my birth control. But at this point, I was, we were sustained enough. I had dropped out of college and started cosmetology school. All that, whatever. We had decided we wanted to start having kids, or start trying to have kids at this point in time, because fertility issues do run in the family. My mom and my grandma both have messy periods, but we decided that we wanted to start trying to have kids. And they tell you to give it like a year to a year and a half after you stop taking birth control, especially when you took it for as long as I did, because I took it from about 16 to about 21, 22, something like that. And I waited the year. Nothing happened. And unfortunately, I'd been going to the same midwife that my mom had been going to. You know how you go to a place like that and then you go to the person that your parents went to, because that's the only person that you know. And she, God bless her heart, she's just the nicest little lady, but she just acted like that was normal. Because when I got off my birth control, my period started to get fucky again. Didn't have a period for like 6 months, and she was like, it'll work itself out. And
they're just like, just deal with it.
No, I don't want to deal with it. I'm trying to have a baby. I'm a person who had my life planned out, okay? I had my life planned out by the age of 5. And I threw that out the window getting married at 18, okay? I was not getting married until 25. And I'm 25 now. I've been married for 5 years. Right?
7.
15. I've been married for 6 years. I've been with Caleb for 8 years.
You got married in 2015?
Yeah.
So 6, yeah. Sorry.
And then we got together in 2013.
Got it.
So, sorry. Anyway. So, once we got married, I was like, I want to have at least 1 or 2 kids by 25. Because for me, it was, I know with the way my family history runs, that my early 30s, late 30s are going to be when all my health issues come up. Psych, not really, because I almost died from iron deficiency at 22. But anyway, so I wanted to have at least 1 or 2 kids by 25, because that's what my parents did, and that's what I thought I needed to do. And then we tried for 3 years and can't have kids, and no one wanted to help me. Literally no one was like, yeah, let's get you hormone tested, let's do this, and this, let's, test your husband's swimmers, make sure that's the problem. That was one thing with my old midwife that I did not appreciate, was that she never said, it could be your husband. Yeah. The fact that he wears tight underwear and drinks Mountain Dew like it's his lifeline.
Yeah.
No, never once was it brought to my attention. Like, I knew he could be the problem, but I'm a person who internalizes everything. So, like, we weren't getting pregnant, and I automatically made that my problem. Like, that was my fault that we weren't getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And I dealt with that shit. My husband never made that a point to be like, oh, this is all you. Never.
No, he's been very great about that. Very good about it.
So they switched me to an actual OBGYN and the same practice. She's like, my midwife was like, I don't think I can help you. I've been trying to help you. I don't think I can, which she had not helped.
There was no help.
In any way, shape, or form. So she switched me to an OBGYN, and he put me on a medicine called Clomid, which is basically, as I understand it, because they never really explained to me how the medication worked, but it's helped to regulate your ovulation. Because if you don't ovulate, you can't, you can't get pregnant.
You have to ovulate to get pregnant, right. Yeah.
Your uterus has to drop your egg so that it can get fertilized. So if you're not dropping your eggs, you're not going to get fertilized. You're not going to get pregnant. The only thing that he told me about this, like the first time I met this man, it was a 15-minute consultation. First and foremost, I trimmed everything because I thought for sure I was going to the OBGYN, they're going to look in there. No. That really pissed me off because I took the time to get up extra early so I could shave my punani that morning. And my legs.
That's the worst.
and my legs, okay?
Wasted.
I even shaved the tops of my toes because I was like, this is a new person. This is a man, OBGYN.
Toes gotta be pristine.
Right. So, he's in there for all of it. I brought my mom with me because my husband, he does not get days off like I get days off. Like, I make my own schedule, so if I don't want to go to work, bye, I'm not going. And I took my mom with me, and she was like, how long is this going to be? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming they'll do, like, the full workup. Like, we're talking about making babies here. It's not going to be, like, a drive-through.
Yeah, this is serious.
And boy, was I fucking wrong.
Oh,
because not only does he not look at any part of me, he hands me a sheet and was like, yeah, we're going to try this. Which, as far as I can understand it from other people that are TTC, Clomid is, like, the first medication they try with you because it's the least...
invasive,
risky.
Yeah,
because there are other medications that will regulate your ovulation, but it's like the first step in the medication. But they hand me a sheet, and on this sheet it's like you have to take the Clomid for 7 days or something. It was like 7 days or something, and then you have to have sex every day for days 7 to 14. And let me tell you, when you have to schedule sex, it's not fun. Okay, it's not fun. It really isn't.
also the wildest homework I've ever heard of.
It's not fun. Like, I literally sent a picture to my husband. He's like, we have to have sex every day. I was like, will you shut up? Because literally, if it wasn't on this paper, if it wasn't the doctor's orders, we would have no problem having sex every day.
But it's the fact that you have to.
But it's right, and it takes the fun out of sex when you have to schedule it.
Yeah.
But that's the worst part about TTC is everything is revolved around a schedule.
Yeah.
But I took the Clomid. And one of the side effects was, it throws your hormones out of whack. And it made me a raging bitch. Like, I'm already pretty bitchy. I'll say it. I'm a bitch. But, like, it made me so bad to the point where people around me were like, oh my god, you're going to take this medicine forever? Like, I fucking hope not. You're terrible. But it worked. It made me ovulate. And so I was hopeful. But... he told me if I didn't get pregnant, because he made it sound like I would get pregnant, like, right off the bat, because my ovulation was my issue. And I didn't know enough, like, I know a lot more now that I would have been, like, taking ovulation tests and been like, no, actually, I'm ovulating. You're just not checking. And I didn't get pregnant. And so he put me on another round, didn't get pregnant, put me on another round, didn't get pregnant. And by that point, I had 3 months of these hormones built up in my body. And I was going to burn a whole city down. Like, I was Rampage motherfucking Jackson, okay? I was gonna burn some shit down. And
It's terrifying when your best friend is 6 foot tall.
It's terrifying for anybody.
But especially when your best friend's 6 foot tall.
Well, and like, I work with people all day, and I already get upset with people's minor inconveniences to me, and then just having to be on the Clomid, and just telling, like, I literally we have a salon group chat, I sent in the group chat, like, hey guys, I'm gonna be taking Clomid, let's just not talk to Julie for the next 3 months, okay? So... I take the Clomid, doesn't work, and it didn't work, and all it was doing was making me a miserable person to be around, and it was making me feel miserable because I was taking this medicine that this doctor told me would work, which, like, you don't make promises like that to people, especially people, I feel like people in TTC state are, like,
fragile.
The most fragile, honestly, like, as far as wanting something, and just it being, like, right there, but so out, like, so far out. So, the Clomid didn't work, and I was like, fuck this, I can't do it anymore. I really can't do it anymore. So, we put the baby thing on the back burner. And we were just like, you know what? Maybe we'll have one of those stories. We stop trying and then it happens. I never lost hope of that. And I think that's part of the reason why it didn't happen, because I was continuously trying. And my husband and I had talked about how I wanted to be a foster parent, because I had a friend in high school who was in foster care. If we're being honest, he didn't see the best parts of foster care, I don't think.
No, unfortunately not.
I think it helped him a little bit, but I just think that he didn't get the kind of help and love that I would have liked him to get, because he was one of my best friends. Like, he was an amazing person, and I just don't think he got what he needed out of the foster care system. And the foster care system is a broken place. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. It's literally the most fucked up place on the face of the planet. I love the people that we work with for our case, but I know that if I continue to do this, I will come in contact with people that are not this good.
Well, and a big thing is, you know, I have Julie, and then my sister also is a foster parent, and I know how fantastic they are and how much they do it because they genuinely just love kids and want to see them have good homes. And that's what I hope to do as well. But unfortunately, there are people like our friend in high school where it was a paycheck monthly that they saw. And that's all they saw for those kids, unfortunately.
The foster family did collect a lot of money. But we had talked about it, and for whatever reason in my head, I thought, well, you can't do this till you're like 30. I mean, you have to be an actual adult to do this. Mm-hmm. I was 22 when we started trying to have kids. I was like 21 when we started trying to have kids. We tried for like 3 years. It didn't work. And so finally I was like, well, we might as well do it now. Like,
exactly.
Might as well get it started. So right before the pandemic started, we started filling out all of our paperwork. And then we got licensed, and now we have the baby.
T-baby.
We got T-babe. She's great. But scrolling through TikTok, I didn't realize how many people were struggling with the same thing that I was struggling with. And the TTC community on TikTok is a very positive place, and it's a very comforting place. There's a girl on TikTok called Carter's Mama. I love her. Okay? Oh my god. She and her husband were TTC baby number 2. And I followed that journey, and when I tell you I did daily updates, like, I need to know. She was peeing on sticks every day.
Hell yeah.
And, like, I know how that feels. To, like, want it so bad, and to just constantly get the negative is fucking terrible. But I finally fucked around and got a new OB, and I love her. Fantastic. The first thing she was like, you know, it might not be you, it might be your husband. And I was like, love that energy. So my husband went and got tested. All of us swimmers are great, of course.
Fucking man.
She did some tests on me. And because my first doctor just assumed that I had PCOS. And there are things that you can do for PCOS, and there are tests that you can run to see if you have PCOS. And it's not like, this is the PCOS test. It's, we're going to run these series of tests, and if you hit these markers, or you match these milestones, then it's assumed that you have PCOS. It's not just a test, like, it's not the fitness gram pacer test. So they ran them on me, and they were like, you could or you couldn't, like, you're right on the line. And I'm like, that's fantastic. I love that for me.
I love that uncertainty.
And then I had a DNC because, fun fact, your uterine wall is only supposed to be about 6 millimeters?
Yeah.
And mine was like 16 to 18 millimeters thick.
Dummy thick.
Dummy thick uterine lining. But, so they cleared me all out, and then I was on birth control again. Because before I started going to this OB, I was going through probably 250 tampons in one period.
She's not even being dramatic, because I am at Julie's house a lot, and when I tell you that this girl literally would be using like Super Plus and then a like diaper pad.
Yeah. I was making a diaper every night before bed out of pads because I was bleeding so bad. And like normally on your period in the night you don't bleed as bad because you're not moving. It's the activity that you're doing during the day that makes you bleed that much. And, like, I would have to get up in the middle of the night to change my diaper pad that I had made because I was bleeding so bad. So, now I'm off birth control again, and my periods are completely normal, and I've started ovulation tracking. And ovulation tracking, honestly, that is something that they should be teaching kids in health class. Straight up, because men should know about it too. Because my husband has been very good about learning about everything that's going on and wanting to be involved in the process. And, like, okay, well, why are you peeing on this stick today? Okay, why are you peeing on this stick today? And I didn't know anything about ovulation tracking. Mm-mm. I didn't even understand a 28 to 32 day cycle. I didn't even know what the fuck that was.
No, they really dropped the ball on teaching us about our own fucking bodies.
The only thing they did was like, okay, this is a pad, this is a tampon.
Don't have sex.
You should probably start wearing deodorant because you're hormonal now.
You stank.
So, I downloaded some apps. And now I do ovulation testing. So if you're a person who is TTC and you don't understand why, my first go-to would be to track your ovulation and see if you're ovulating. I use the Pre-Mom testing strips. So if you download the Pre-Mom app, this is not a sponsor.
We'll let you know if and when we get sponsored.
We'll let you know if and when, and I probably shouldn't have even said the name, but like it has been a really good tool for me, and it has helped me a lot to understand because there's a lot of information on the app. But you pee on your stick twice a day, and it tells you whether or not you're ovulating, and then it tells you when you need to have the sex and when you need to start pregnancy testing. And it's great because it's all laid out for you. But there are a lot of apps like that. Mm-hmm. Like, there are so many apps that will help you track stuff like that. And if you aren't tracking your periods, you should be.
Yeah.
Straight up. Because not only do you track the dates of your periods, but you need to track what it looks like coming out. Like, is it, you got egg white mucus? Is it running mucus? Is there blood and mucus? Like, and it will tell you, like, hey, okay, that's like a sign of this, or that's like a sign of that, and it's something to go off of. But the TTC journey, I was okay with stopping. But then my husband was like, but wouldn't it be great? And I'm like, yeah, I would, you're right. So we're trying again. We're not actively, like, you know, I'm not taking medications or anything like that, but we're not preventing it either.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of not play devil's advocate, but kind of give a side of somebody who's not trying to get pregnant, I have a similar story as far as my issues, because basically, so here is not TTC, but PCOS / what the fuck is wrong with my body journey from somebody who is still not actively trying to get pregnant, but it is so frustrating being a female who cycles, and just the people, like, as far as doctors and stuff, just don't give a shit. They just shove birth control down your throat.
Yep.
So
that fixes everything.
Yeah. So I was 16. That was like 2 days before my 16th birthday, and I still had not had a period, and I finally had one when I was like 2 days before my 16th birthday. And that was like, I always looked like a late bloomer. Like, I still have a baby face. It was even more aggressive when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And so, okay, seems right? Okay, well, then I didn't have another period until about like 3 months into my junior year. And my mom's like, you're just starting, like, that's probably normal. So that's what we went off of. Then I went almost like 7-8 months, and I didn't have a period until my junior prom, which, like, great timing, Mother Nature. And so I had that period. And then I went an entire year and didn't have another period until my senior prom. Again, fuck you, Mother Nature and Aunt Flo. And so then my sister got involved, and she's like, Mom, I really think you need to get Lacey, like, checked out. Like, this isn't normal. Like, you shouldn't go a year without a period. That's not healthy. So my mom makes me an appointment with an OBGYN. And so at 17, I don't know what to expect, but, you know, I've seen all the horrors of the stirrups and everything, so I'm petrified because I'm like, okay, I'm going into this OBGYN.
I love going to the OB, straight up.
Yeah, well, I only have negative experiences with OBs, and I can get into that too. Because
if it makes you feel any better, the first time I went to the OB, the midwife came in and she's like, I have a special friend today. Do you care if they come in and see what I'm doing? Sure. Bring the whole crowd in here. Sell tickets.
Yeah.
And every time except for when I switched my OBs, I've had a friend, which is just a medical student.
Yeah.
Who's trying to learn. Nothing was more awkward than the poor little boy. He wasn't a boy. I mean, he was a medical student, so he's probably my age, honestly.
Yeah.
He came in and she was like, why don't you do her breast exam while I'm examining her cervix? And he's like trying not to make eye contact with me, just like touching my boobs. And I'm like, dude, it's just a boob.
Yeah.
You never seen
This your
one
first
before?
time?
That's what I should have said. This is your first time touching a boob? Because you can tell.
But anyway, so then I go to the OBGYN, and they don't even look at me. Like, I'm assuming that they're going to do like a full everything, because like the fact that I'm not having a period should be a concern. And literally she's just like, so the fact that you haven't had a period in a year means you're at high risk for uterine cancer. So me and my mom immediately freak out because she just threw the C word at us. And that's terrifying when you're 17.
Well, and I think that's the only option.
Yeah, so she's like, we're going to put you on Provera, which is horse piss. And it's just straight estrogen to kickstart a period, and then you're going to be on birth control for, like, ever. And I was like, okay, well, like, am I going to be on it for, like, a year? Or what's the case? Like, what's the tea? And she's like, I mean, do you want to have children yet? And I'm like, no, I'm 17. She's like, okay, well, just stay on birth control. That was literally it. It was a 10-minute freaking thing. I got 2 medications. I get put on Provera, and literally after I take my first pill, I have my first ever, like, that I can remember as an adult panic attack. Like, I remember I went up to my room because I was going to go lay down and watch some TV before I went to school the next day at like 8:30, and all of a sudden I just started breathing heavy. I could not stop controlling my crying, and I literally had to run downstairs and have my mom hold me. And then I started on birth control, and I was literally paused on everything. Like, it was insane. I was just like a robot. Like, I had no sex drive. I had no desire to have sex. I did not get armpit hair. I did not, like, I just was like a robot. And then my mom is more of a holistic person. She's a holistic health practitioner. I kind of got into that. And so in 2019, I decided to just, like, I was like, I've been on birth control and I have no idea what it's doing to my body.
They don't tell you. They're just like, this birth control, this is a pill that's going to solve all your problems. They send you with the fucking
scroll and they're like, read this. Yeah, I'm going to fucking read that.
No one reads that.
No.
If you do, you're lying.
Yeah.
If you say you do, you're lying.
Yeah. And so I go off birth control, and honestly, I did have a few successful periods, but then that's when I discovered that I had PMDD, which no one talks about because they just assume that you're just a hormonal woman through her periods. No, I was having straight suicidal thoughts. I was having self-deprecating thoughts. I was so depressed I didn't want to do anything. I would just randomly scream cry, and I had no idea what it was. I thought it was just my anxiety, maybe some depression, and then I track it with my periods and I find out it's PMDD. So went to a new doctor. We test all my panels, and guess what? They're completely freaking normal. I am healthy as a horse. I just can't get rid of stomach weight, and I can't ovulate, or I can't cycle like a normal woman. I have no idea about ovulation. Honestly, I might try what you do.
Should start, and that's what I wish that they would normalize tracking your ovulation even when you're not trying to have kids.
Exactly.
Because that's what I told my little sister. I was like, girl, you need to start tracking that shit, because how are you supposed to know if there's a...
But anyway, so literally the doctor was like basically just going to have me be on birth control until I wanted to have kids. And I didn't want to do that because I'm somebody who, I'm 25, I don't have a significant other. So it's still I might be in my early 30s if I decide to have my own children. Like, I definitely want to be a foster mom, like, for sure. But I also might want to have one of my own. I don't know yet. But I don't want to get to the point of being 30 and then get off birth control and then just be like, oh shit, there's problems. And then I have to take 5 years to try to figure that out. But that's all that the society did for us. Like, especially like, I see a lot on TikTok, like I've become on that page where it's like, so many of us were like 14 and 15 with horrible periods and they just shoved birth control down our throat, and now we have PCOS.
And I'm telling you, they think birth control is a magical medication.
It's a cure-all.
It is not. The only thing it did for me was it regulated my periods, which at 16 I appreciated.
Yeah.
Because I never knew when they were coming, and they were terribly heavy. But all it did was create more issues. I think, honestly, all it did was create more issues for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's my problem, because, like, literally, all my levels come back normal. The only thing I am is vitamin D deficient. I'm healthy as a horse, but I literally only carry weight on top of my uterus. And I'm like, that's probably a sign of something wrong, but I don't know. And now, unfortunately, that I have PMDD, which, if you don't know, it's pre-menstrual dysmorphic disorder. Look it up in case you're somebody who does struggle heavily.
Because it's a lot more common than what people think it is.
And, like, don't let any doctor try to tell you. Like, wait until you find a doctor. Like, do not get discouraged if you go to doctors that are like, well, that's just normal. No, it's not. Okay, yeah, it's normal to get a little sad and maybe cry on your period, but if you're having legit suicidal thoughts and, like, very self-deprecating thoughts, and you are, like, literally debilitated by your mental state, please go to a doctor.
Another reason to track your periods, because if you hadn't correlated the two,
I wouldn't have known. And, like, literally last year was such a hard time for me mentally. Like, it was awful. Julie was one of my rocks through that, so she can attest.
She would call me and be like, I'm on my way home from work. And I was like, okay, cool. And she'd be like, can I come cry on your couch? Sure.
And, so it was just such a struggle, and I'm still at a point where, like, I'm on birth control now. I'm on birth control and Lexapro to help, and it seems like a nice cocktail for me personally as to help with the mental state, and it does help with my periods, because, like I said, when I was off birth control for that little bit, I had periods so bad that my doctor literally was like, that's child labor pain. Like, you should not be shitting yourself while having cramps that bad.
I'd be getting period shitties all the time.
Well, there's, like, period shits, yes, but, like, I had cramps so bad that it was causing my body to involuntarily shit. Like, I was almost pooping my pants.
I feel that.
Yeah. And so, I'm back on birth control, but, like, I still have that thought in the back of my mind, like, okay, but, like, what can I do? Like, it just feels hopeless of, like, because even my doctor, like, who tries very hard to do the more holistic way, is like, you're literally healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well then what the fuck's the problem? Because, like, doctors love to look at you, and if your BMI isn't perfect, well, it's probably because you're overweight.
You're fat. That's the first thing that they told me when I was like, I can't have kids. And they're like, well, you should try losing weight. Like, girl, no. I know people way bigger than me that have no problem having kids.
Yeah.
I genuinely think we should look deeper into the thing, and instead of just being like, oh, well, the scale says this and that says you can't get pregnant.
Yeah. Because that's literally, like, that's the thing I think a lot of doctors think with me. And I'm like, yeah, but if you look at me, you'll notice that the only place I have excess weight is the apron area of my uterus, which is how am I supposed to lose my targeted trouble weight when my shit doesn't work right? Like, that's 100% it, because, like, I don't eat unhealthy. All my all my panels and all my, like, regular, like, my blood pressure, my freaking heart rate, all that stuff is perfect.
Yep.
One time a doctor looked me in my eye at the size I am and was like, are you a runner? I was like, bitch, does it look like I run?
The only thing I'm running from
is these problems.
Right.
I was like, no. She's like, well, your heart rate is just at a very, like, heart healthy, like, runner endurance level. And I'm like, nah, bitch, the only time I run is from my cows when they think I got feed. But it's such a struggle, and that's why I know that we're, like, super dumb and goofy bitches, and we talk about stuff like the big dick boys, but, like, we do want to talk about real life problems, because unfortunately things like TTC and things like periods are
they're talked about, but people still don't know enough.
And not in depth enough, because, like, it's like you say periods and people are like, I don't want to hear about you bleeding. Like, bitch, grow up.
For real.
This is something that every single cis-born woman deals with. And it should be talked about more. There should be way more help. There should be way more knowledge. And we need to have a communication. Because the sad part is, if you are somebody who struggles with getting pregnant or PCOS or anything that falls under that umbrella, 90% of the time, which is a made-up statistic that I just said, but I feel like it's true, you do your own research and you self-diagnose yourself. Because a lot of doctors, unfortunately, just don't want to put the time and energy into finding out what's wrong with you and going to the core.
You have to advocate for yourself. At the end of the day, you have to advocate for yourself, because the only person that knows how you feel is you. And a lot of the times, people will be like, well, you might just be making this up.
And that's the thing, is like, I'm not trying to disregard or disrespect, like, medical field. I understand that those people, especially with the last 2 years, they have put in so much time, effort, and energy and sacrifices. And I'm not saying that they are not knowledgeable or that they don't deserve, like, anything. But I'm just saying, as somebody who's been in that room, I have been shamed to the point where I came out of the OBGYN one time bawling my eyes out, because I was a virgin when I went to go get my first pap smear, and the lady literally laughed at me that I was still a virgin.
I remember that.
It was traumatizing. I will be honest, haven't been back to the OBGYN since. And that's,
you can go to mine, she's really nice.
And I, like, literally, that's not healthy for me, and I know that if there's something wrong, that's on my end. But, like, I literally was so traumatized, because I was already so embarrassed, because I didn't realize how many people were still virgins in their early and late 20s, but I felt like I was the only person that was.
Because society and the internet tells you that you should be having mad sex by 16.
Yeah, but then you're also a whore if you had mad sex at 16.
Only if you're a girl.
Yeah. But, like, you also, it's just, it's so annoying. And it literally,
it's a fucked up world we live in for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and, like, I always felt so, like, I felt like I had to, like, tell people, which, another trigger warning here, just letting you know. I always felt like I had to tell my story of why I was a virgin, to be like, well, medically I didn't have the urge to have sex, and then at 19 I was sexually assaulted, so then I was terrified of intimacy. Right. It wasn't until I met somebody and actually just finally did it out of desperation, I'll be honest. And now I'm glad, because that person was amazing, and I had a good experience with sex, and now I'm, like, way more confident, way better about it. So, like, it was a great experience, but, like, I was literally pre-pressured into it from society, because I felt like the longer I went, the worse it was going to be. Which at the end ended up being good, because before then, the only experience I had with any kind of intimacy was when I was sexually assaulted. And so that was obviously a very negative experience. Yeah. So now I'm way more open to being intimate and going on dates. But, like, it's just such a clusterfuck for being a woman. And, like, I know that people probably think that, like, it's dramatic, but it's really not.
No, not when you're going through it. It's fucking with you the way it fucks with you.
Oh my gosh. And, like, that's just, I mean, all the times that I have felt like just being thrown on birth control, and then feeling not normal because my body doesn't work the right way, having a fear even at 21 of, like, am I going to be able to have kids because of how my body is, feeling, you know, just defeated because I had all the mental issues, and then finally realizing it was PMDD, but then realizing, okay, does that mean I need to stay on birth control the rest of my life just to feel normal and not be suicidal? And then it's the, you know, constant peer pressure from society because I was a 22-year-old virgin, and like, oh my God, are people going to make fun of me? No one's going to want to date me. Like, can't even get a fucking pap smear, and then my doctor making fun of me because literally she told me to go have sex and come back and get a pap smear, and then laughed outside my door.
People are shitty, dude.
Yeah. So, like, it's insane. And so if there's anything that this podcast can bring you other than a good laugh, is just know you're not alone, and we're two friends that you can talk to.
Lacey and I are also, like, natural-born educators.
Yeah.
For real. Like, it's not even me trying to be funny. Like, I genuinely, if I can tell somebody about something, I will tell them about something.
Well, we both wanted to be teachers.
Right. Well, I thought I did. And then I was like, I'll slap somebody's kid. I can't do this. But just, like, the natural urge to share your experience.
Because so for the longest time, I kept a lot of things to myself, like being a virgin and dealing with my stuff, because I felt like no one else talked about it. And then, like, especially with my mental illness struggle. But then I realized the amount of people who were like, thank you for sharing, because that makes me feel better. And then I was like, holy shit, I will
have to be the person to take a leap of faith to make other people know that they're not.
And just feel comfortable. Because, like, that's the biggest, like, I tell anybody now, I will literally be like, yeah, I go to therapy regularly for maintenance because I love going. And even though it's an expense that I do gladly.
Change, you gotta do it.
Exactly. And, like, I will openly tell people that, yeah, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 24, but you know what?
Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck? And so it's just, like, that was something I was so self-conscious about. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't tell anybody.
But you losing your virginity at 24, I guarantee was a way better experience than half the people that lose their virginity at 16.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You need to get you a guy who already knows what he's doing.
Because when you're losing your virginity at 16, hypothetically, theoretically, the person you're losing your virginity with
most likely is also a virgin,
or they are also in the same age range as you and have no fucking idea. Because I'm sorry, the guys in high school that said that they laid pipe at 17
did not lay pipe.
No, you didn't. You turned the faucet on and that was it. You weren't laying any kind of plumbing in there, okay? So it was probably honestly better that you did wait.
It was a way better experience.
Because you got a way better first-time experience than I had, let me fucking tell you.
It was a good experience, and like I said, it was great for me, even though I did feel peer pressure to doing it just by society and my own mental. It was a fantastic experience, and it really helped change my mental as far as from the terrible experience I had to be having a good experience, and just feeling like I was, like, able to, like, educate myself on all of that and knowing how everything works. So yeah, I don't regret it now waiting, and I definitely don't have, like, and I'm not afraid to share it now, but, like, it was something that, you know, I was so self-conscious about.
Well, and it sucks because society's telling you this is how it is, but that's not how it is. Like,
no.
Just because society is telling you that that's how it's supposed to be, and it's not to get, like, weird feminism-y or whatever, like, you don't have to lose your virginity before you leave high school. Like, and don't let anybody tell you that you have to, because you don't. Seriously. It's not even something that should be important to you. By that point in your life, you should be worried about how to get rid of your acne. Yeah. Seriously, straight up.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is I feel like there is so much pressure, whether it's from your partner or whether it's from your friends or anything. Like, there is so much pressure of, like, you need to lose your virginity. But then, like, don't have too much sex. Don't have too many sexual partners.
Right.
No, do whatever you want. Like, as long as it's consensual and you're doing it for you, literally just be safe and be happy. And that's the only advice I give you. Like, if you have a boyfriend that you love and you're 16 or whatever and you want to have sex, just be safe. And if you want to wait till you're in college, just be safe.
Listen, I lost my virginity to my husband. Like, seriously, we were 16 and 17. That's when I cashed in my V card, okay? And I was just so... And I don't know why, because I had been, I don't want to say propositioned. I'm not a prostitute by any means. But, you know, guys would be like, okay, let's have sex. I'm like, no. You get a handy and that's it. You get a handy in the back of your mom's minivan and that's all you're getting.
Best I can do is a handy.
Best I can do is a handy. Because, like, I wasn't comfortable. And, like, I don't know if it's because, well, not that anybody I dated up until that point wasn't a straight up virgin, because you can tell. Especially at 16, because they're like, okay, you want to do some stuff? Like, do you want to like do stuff?
I can touch your boob or something.
You want me to touch your boob? But you find somebody, it should be somebody that you're comfortable with, regardless of whether or not they're a virgin also. In my case, my husband was also a virgin. Don't let him tell you any different.
I don't think he would.
He took mine and I took his, okay? And it was traumatizing. but that's a story maybe we can tell next week.
Yeah, that's another story. But yeah, I'm glad we had this talk because, like I said, I just think it's necessary things to talk about as people.
And stuff that people don't want to talk about because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah, and like it's just like my thing now as an older person is just like if I could help one person feel a little bit more comfortable just by talking about my experience, I will let you know all of the grungy, dirty details.
Right. I don't mind telling you how much I bleed.
I don't mind telling you I lost my
virginity. If it makes you aware that the issues that you're having could be similar to the issues I have, and this is how I treated it, and it gives you a way to start.
Yeah, at least just like an opening point of like, okay, and like also just that camaraderie of being like, wow, I'm not alone in this. Like that makes me feel better.
Well, like if I hadn't got on TTC TikTok, I would have never known to start tracking my ovulation. I was 24 when I started tracking my ovulation,
I'm 25,
but I'd been having fertility issues, active fertility issues for 4 years at that point, and no one ever stopped to be like, maybe you should look at your ovulation schedule and your period schedule. Like,
it's insane.
Track your period other than just, okay, it starts on this day.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have known.
Nope.
So shout out to TikTok. Shout out to TTC community on TikTok.
Shout out.
The TTC TTs.
Y'all the real ones. Real quick, I do want to add that we will be having a little cattle corner segment as well, just for any followers that come from my TikTok. I understand that a big basis of my following is the fact that I have adorable fluffy pet cows. So I just wanted to give you guys an update that the vet will be coming December 13th to palpate and vaccinate my ladies. I will be doing a lot more in-depth video on that on my YouTube channel, and then I'll also probably post a video on my TikTok. All my ladies are doing fantastic. They're super cute and fluffy. They're up in the front field because they need to have full access to the hay, mineral, and all that jazz because it is winter now. The grass is not as luscious, and so they need to be fed, and they will start getting fed feed every day. But other than that, everybody's happy, healthy, and vibing. So I know I kind of threw that at the end. We might throw it in different places, like maybe in the beginning, maybe in the middle, but today we just had a lot of important subjects to talk about. I mean, I know the beginning was a silly, goofy mood, but
you can't be serious all the time.
No, we can't have a full hour of serious.
Also, can we respect the shirt that my mom made me?
I mean, only a visual will be able to see it.
The bigger the fupa, the tastier the chalupa, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
I also love that we had to teach Teresa what a fupa was as soon as I walked in the door.
Yeah, because my mom was like, fupa, what's that?
She's like, I thought that was your apron. I'm like, yeah, that's your fupa, Teresa.
Yeah, duh. But anyway, we're going to get off here, and we're going to go do some... I'm forcing Julie to go run errands with me.
She's forcing me into making another YouTube video, but this time we're not eating nasty-ass jelly beans.
Sorry.
I'll never do that again. Straight up.
It was fun.
Worst experience of my life.
It was fun.
No.
It was a silly goofy
It was
mood.
not.
All right. We're going to go off here. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and we will talk to you next week. Alrighty?
Deuces.
Peace out. That was a good-ass podcast.
I think so.
Straight up, I feel like that was a really good podcast.